Today's question comes from Marissa in New Mexico. Marissa writes, I introduced the baby steps to my ex-boyfriend. We were in an emotionally unhealthy relationship but decided to live together. We opened a joint emergency fund account and a joint checking account to pay our bills, and we both brought $10,000 to the emergency fund. He had no debt, but I owed $4,800 when we opened the checking account, so we paid that off. We broke up last week, and now he wants the money back. He's calling me a thief, a scammer, and is threatening to post on social that I used all his money. I'm afraid he will make me lose my job or go to my daughter's school to post signs saying that I'm a thief. I want to do the right thing, but it seems like since we paid the debt when we decided to join our incomes, I do not owe him anything even if we broke up 2 weeks after. What is your advice? Whew. So sometimes, Dave, people get tied up in these relationships and it gets real close, and someone's telling me a story, and I'll stop them and say, hey, that's harassment or that's abuse. And you watch the light bulb go on and they go, right. And so I think there's something to be said. We can have the conversation about money, but if you are afraid that somebody is going to make you lose your job, if you're afraid that someone's going to go to your kid's school and harass them, embarrass you, then you need to call the authorities and get people involved in this conversation, because this is bigger than you. This is different than just a bad breakup. This is somebody you're afraid is going to actively try to seek to destroy your life. So there's my little discussion on that, Dave. All right, so help me with this question, Dave. What do you think?
Well, I grew up in a neighborhood where the first thing we learned was what you do with a bully is you hit them in the nose. You don't give them more power.
Right.
You take their power away immediately. And so that's my redneck reaction.
That's your new book.
That's
my
redneck
reaction.
Redneck reaction. That's it. Just pop them in the nose, and then they can stop and think about their mouth. Okay. But of course, we're not literally physically recommending that these days. But yeah, that happened in a different generation, and but it does set the DNA of something like this. So consequently, I still to this day I don't do a good job. I don't always use good wisdom when I'm dealing with a bully, because my first reaction is just game on, and that's not always the best reaction.
Yeah.
So that's what we're dealing with here. This guy's a bully.
That's right.
And so I don't want you to pay the $4,800, even if I thought you owed it right now, because your reason for doing it is fear, and that is not the right reason to do it. If you want to pay the $4,800, your reason for doing it needs to be on principle that you feel like, yeah,
I owe him that money.
I owe him that money
right.
because the way this deal went down, it's not right, and I should do it.
Right.
And I kind of think that's true.
Yep.
I kind of think you do owe him the money. But I don't want you to do it until your heart rate changes and drops down, because right now your heart's beating 1,000 miles a minute.
Because you're scared of somebody.
Yeah.
Right.
And he thinks, and I actually don't want him to think he got the money because of that either.
Because he bowed up on you.
Yeah.
And
it's
you
like
took a knee and
he's
handed him the
gonna
money.
threaten you, and
That's
so
right.
because then what's he gonna threaten you for next time?
That's right.
And so, but so the other part of this is the and you can speak to this better than I can, but we were in an emotionally unhealthy relationship, but we moved in together anyway. Which, you know what that tells me? It tells me you're going to go back.
Yeah, or you're going to find another emotionally unhealthy
You're going to go back.
relationship.
You're going to go back to this guy if you're not careful. And so what I want for you is for him to never see you, speak to you, or have any voices in your head ever again.
Correct.
When this is done.
Right.
And the next time you see an unhealthy relationship, I want you to go, no, wait, I'm a princess, I'm valuable, and I'm so valuable that I don't need to be entering into an unhealthy relationship. Translation, I don't need to sleep with a bully.
All right. And so here's a couple things you can do. You can go to your boss ahead of time and say, hey, here's a good example. This actually happened, Dave, a year ago. Something back from my past came up, and I emailed you right away and said, hey, just so you know, everything's clear here. This came up. And I preemptively got ahead of this, right? I came and told you. It ended up being nothing. It ended up not being a thing. But I'd go to my boss and say, hey, I've got an out of control somebody.
Ex-boyfriend
Who's gonna
that
post a
maybe
bunch of
run his mouth,
nonsense.
and I don't know if he's going to see you or not, but just in case he did,
Just know.
you just need to know this guy's a bozo,
That's
and he'll come in looking like a clown, and you'll know he's a clown.
That's right. And
So, yeah.
same at the school. Hey, if this guy comes around, call 911.
Yeah,
get him off your property.
Get the security guys out here and remove him and so forth, and just be on guard. And I've already let the authorities know, and I'm filing for a restraining order.
That's right.
Now once you've done all that, then don't go back.
And don't find another one to replace him.
Okay. So, what do you anytime I do something stupid, I try to figure out what it was so I don't do it again. If I'm going to do stupid stuff, it needs to be new stupid stuff. Okay?
That's your next book, New Stupid Stuff by Dave Ramsey.
We got a lot of books coming out today. Okay,
we're gonna have number one bestsellers everywhere.
Redneck Reaction and new stupid stuff. But,
new stupid stuff.
But the thing is that I think there's a tremendous statistical probability that she cycles back if she doesn't break the mold on this.
That's right. And it feels like, Marissa, you're trying to soft land this thing.
Yeah.
And you want to keep this guy in the relationship. You want to figure out how to keep your money but not have to do – it's all about you're terrified.
I want you to stone cold this guy.
Yeah.
And give him the money back.
Block him on everything. Okay, so let's get into that. They got together.
Well, they shouldn't have done any of this.
None of it. Yeah, I read. I introduced him to your baby steps. I want to say, no, you didn't. You like a weird part of the baby steps.
Well, you made up your own plan where we can live together in an unhealthy relationship and then combine our money when we're not married. That we have never told anybody anything except never do that.
Because of this,
Because of this right here.
This moment.
This is what happens when you shack up with people you aren't married to and you play house because you want to wear the shoes for a week before you actually buy them.
So I've got no debt. I owe $4,800. They paid it. He paid it off.
Well,
technically,
I think they both put $10K in there, so there's $20,000 in there, and then they paid off $4,800 out of that. Right. Sounds like
maybe she splits it.
He needs to get his $10,000 back total, and it's probably down by something.
Walk away.
Yeah, and then but kiddo, love yourself enough. Put the stiff arm on the bozo permanently.
Block him on everything.
And anybody that even smells like him ever again. Oh, wait a minute. I smell bozo. No. Walk away.